right. That there is my personal message
Oh,
that I bring to everyone that I talk to.
nice.
This is just
Your,
it's from
your
my heart.
message.
It's from my
Oh,
heart.
lovely.
Very well said.
It's the truth.
Yes.
You have to hang your phone up, I think.
Yes.
My message.
Okay.
Are you gonna?
He's going to get it for me.
Oh, does he know how?
Yeah, all you have to do is put the receiver back on the
Oh,
hook.
if the receiver's off the hook.
Right.
Oh.
Hi, thank you. And now we got the beep again. I don't know what to do about the phone. I really don't. There were no messages.
But I think I can. You want me to read this out loud?
You can if you like. It's up to you.
Is it on now?
It's on.
Okay.
Can I get up and
Well,
do
this
something
is
with
Gary
that phone?
Moxley's
You can.
message
Yes.
from the Tao of Cottonwood. Quote, our Creator, has given us all we need. Look within.
That is
Perfect.
very well said.
I remember when I was weak, I found the strength. When I was afraid, I found the courage. Look within. What I think, I can become. What I feel, I will attract. Perfect. And what I imagine, I can create. Look within. All I need is someone who loves me. All I need is someone who cares. All I need is someone who will never let me down. I'm standing right here.
You got it.
It's you.
That's me.
That's who loves you,
Every
needs
one
you,
of those words is
and
me.
never lets you down. It's you.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
See?
true.
Every one of
That's
those
why
words
self-love
me.
is so dang important. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to be able to stand? Right?
Yes.
Right.
That was.
Thank you for sharing
No,
this.
that's for you. You guys
Aw, thank you.
Thank you, thank
keep it.
you.
If you want, I can make a copy on my scanner
Yeah, would be
Okay.
so
great.
you can have one.
That was a very important lesson to me, because maybe I guess I was about 12 or 13, and I was going through a kind of hard time because I had polio when I was younger,
Yeah, I remember.
and I was kind of convinced that I was never going to have a good life. I was never going to have a girlfriend or a wife or family, and I was never going to get to run around on the beach like the beautiful people you saw on TV, you know, just having a great time. That wasn't going to be in the cards for me. So I figured if it got bad, I'd take myself out, you know, and then I wouldn't have to deal with it. And then I started saying, no,
No, you don't want to do that.
I kind of like me.
Good.
Okay, and then I started developing an understanding of what was important. And I boiled everything away. And the thing that was left was a happy. It was the only thing that was left. And then I said, okay, what does it take to make me happy? Then I started doing those things. And then it started making me happy.
Right.
And then as I got older and doing more and exploring, trying to grow my world beyond the house and the school and the neighborhood, this gal popped up on my radar. And she popped up a couple of different times. And before I knew it, she was going with me places. You know, I say, well, you know, I saw her at a bus stop. I said, well, I'm going down to the museum. You want to come? And she'd come, you know. And then I'd say, I'm going to go horseback riding this weekend. You want to come? You know, and
you started the bus stop, and that's where you...
she popped up on my radar, and she just, you know, and it
and
got
you were
cool.
just in high school then?
Yeah.
Good for you.
And trying to learn, trying to grow, trying to be a person, building myself, you know, because you got to build yourself. We're not born with nothing, okay? You got to build who you are.
That's right.
You know, and I told you about my Karen, my
Yeah,
stones.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know I was honest. I learned that. And
Truth.
I knew I was generous when I played with my little friend next door. She was a Japanese gal, Amy Okasaki. She was my first friend. So I built all of these skills, and before I knew it, she asked me to marry her. So
She asked you.
she asked me because we were
Cute.
doing things, and
Yeah.
she got swept up into it too. So I figure love must be when you're happy,
That's true.
and love must be when you make other people happy.
That's true too.
Okay,
Right.
so the bottom line is, like I said, I boiled everything away, and it's, are you happy?
See that fortune?
What does it say?
It says give happiness and you will end up happy.
See,
That's true.
so it took me a lot of years to understand that, though.
Yeah.
But I was 20 before I kind of figured all that out.
Mm.
That was hard because I grew up in a big city, in
Me
the
too.
inner city.
Me
So
too.
where did you grow up?
In the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did
In
Cleveland.
a tenement building.
Okay.
Lots of them.
Same here. Same here.
Okay.
So
We know. Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, I grew up,
Streetwise.
I was an only child, and I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I thought eventually that I might want to be a school teacher. So I went through all the ropes with that, going to San Francisco State University, decided I didn't want to do that because it cooped me up in a classroom all day long.
Right.
So I was doing what my parents wanted me to do.
Right.
So I decided I didn't want to be a school teacher. My parents weren't exactly happy about that, but I went on with it anyway. And I got acquainted with my neighbors that had thoroughbred race horses, and I spent a lot of time at the racetrack, not
Okay.
gambling, but I did a lot of work
Okay.
taking care of horses. My first love is outdoors, and when I was a little kid, I was always outside, and I'd always mess up in the kitchen and didn't care about cooking. So my
Right.
mother was happy to send me outdoors.
Get rid of you.
Right. So I did things like I wanted to go up to the pasture and look at the cows. The cows were in the
Right.
pasture up there. She didn't care much about that sort of thing. But anyway, getting back to my, in my 20s at the racetrack, I was with a really nice couple that had the horses, my neighbors, and they taught me a lot. The horses taught me how to take care of horses properly.
Okay.
So I always wanted a horse, and I didn't have one till I was later on in years. I went to dog shows with my other neighbors, and my first dog show I was 13 years old, and I was very impressed there with the guide dogs for the blind that were just being started in the 40s during the war, World War II. And I thought, what a wonderful thing a dog is. What a gift to a person
Right.
that they can take them places and do things safely.
Right.
So I was always, it made such an impression on me that I'm still in contact with them today.
Okay.
So I just really, so that was the beginning of a dog career. When I was in my younger years before I went to college and all that.
Right.
So eventually I became a dog trainer, and I've been a dog trainer for over 60 years. And I love people and dogs. I love teaching, but not in the classroom all day. So the
Right.
teaching thing was still there. And especially when I moved to Camp Verde with my husband in 1985, I had many opportunities to have dog training classes for Yavapai College, the OLLI program,
Right.
and for the Parks and Recreation Department and the 4-H group.
Okay.
So that kept me busy, and that's the thing, I really do like to teach. Right now,
So funny because you were a teacher indoors, now you're a teacher outdoors.
Right.
Yeah, the outdoors was always where I wanted to be.
Right.
So, yeah, and my husband and I met because I was looking for another horse. I did eventually have my own horse. So I met him through a mutual friend,
Okay.
and he was staying with an old cowboy. They were kind of batching it, they say, together. cowboy was from Oklahoma. My husband was born in London, England.
Okay.
So, but he was always into the West.
Right.
You know,
Right.
kind of thing. So I was looking for another horse, and I met him, and I remember he was working for British Motors at the time in San Francisco.
Okay.
So he stepped out of this Land Rover, and I thought, hey, this is interesting. So it was just like we had known each other
Right.
always.
Right.
So it's all that's
This is
when
a
we.
natural connection.
Yes, there was.
Okay.
And I met him in June of 1964, and we were married in August of 1964 for
Okay.
41 years. And
Well, he didn't waste any time.
no, neither one of us did. But so when we wanted to get those horses, I wanted his horses. He had 7 horses, so I got him and the horses.
Right.
And I
It's a
think
cool
the
story.
thing I didn't know at the time we were married was he liked to cook.
Yeah.
And I was not into cooking, and that was just.
That worked out
I
right, didn't it?
came home from work one day and he had the kitchen busy in there.
Right.
So I think that was a wonderful thing, you know. So anyway, we went on, and I was working at UC Berkeley as a receptionist. And I also worked at a junior college for several years in California. I always liked working with foreign students. To me, they're places and all around the world fascinated me, and meeting actual people from those places.
Right.
And some of the girls in the office liked me working with the students because they had a lot of trouble with accents. And to me, the accents were fascinating. So,
I'm the same way because I traveled a lot. So,
Me too.
yeah,
and I'd love, people would take me to their homes and give me the home cooked
you
meals.
see there, yes.
And, you know,
Good for
everywhere I
you.
went, you know.
Right,
So,
that's cool.
and there must be something in my personality that's open like that. So,
Well, and same here, I got along really well with, always have with
Right.
from other countries.
right.
So, and I've always been fascinated with Egypt. And
Okay.
my friend here and myself actually visited Egypt in 2009.
Okay.
So that was a real bucket list
Okay.
thing.
Right.
So as time went by, then of course I moved here, and I don't have a dog anymore because I don't think it would be fair to keep a dog in the house all day if I'm
Right.
moving around. But after my husband passed away in 2004, I became very, very depressed. And a mutual friend introduced me to my yoga teacher here,
Okay.
and she saved my life. She really did. I,
What do I tell you when you say
know,
that?
You know, it's just inside job. I do it myself. But she
You
was-
saved your own life
Yes, but she's
by
so
She
embracing
motivated
it.
She
you to do.
motivated me, and
Yeah,
she's a
I hear
wonderful teacher. She really is with everybody.
Thank
So
you.
she's made a great difference in my life. Absolutely, she did.
Right.
And that's where I became more spiritually aware of things. You know, really opened up a lot to that type of thing. I'm really not dedicated to a real, what you would call, spiritual life, but I'm aware of how a lot of things that are involved with that.
I think we define what spiritual life means
Yes.
to each one of
Each
us.
one of us is,
And we're all different.
that's true.
So maybe you're living a spiritual life for you,
Well,
the way it's defined for you.
well, mine is helping animals and helping people, the dogs. And I always felt that the people would have, if they had a better behaved dog, they would be happier, and the dogs are happier
Right.
too. So it went on that way. Well, why is my name White Wolf? Everybody wants to know why my name is White Wolf.
What are we gonna do? Turn it off and let her
Well, sure.
answer?
Okay,